Coach, it was announced yesterday. Sorry. How's it going? It was announced yesterday that Cale was a finalist for the Norris Trophy. And then today, both him and Nate announced as finalists for the Ted Lindsay. I guess just your reaction having two players from this team announce as finalists.
Yeah, great compliment to his game. I mean, I thought he had a phenomenal season. And I think he deserves to be up for both of those, and Nate as well for the Ted Lindsay. There's some defensemen around the league that had some great years, and obviously deserve the consideration, in my opinion. Cale just had an outstanding year, and a lot of the numbers show that. And I think players that play against him are recognizing that he's one of the top guys in the league, obviously, and so the Ted Lindsay is. I think that's well deserved as well.
Pat, go ahead.
Coach, you kind of piggyback on that with Cale. When you're comparable as basically Bobby Orr, and you maybe don't score in a series, how do you jumpstart that? How do you get him going? You don't have to do that very often, but how do you jumpstart him? How do you get him going?
Like for Game 6?
Yeah.
Well, listen, I think we're overly critical of his series so far. I've looked through a lot of things. Cale's watched it all. He's had a couple games that he could be better in for sure, but it's a tough series. I loved his game 1. I think the sights were off on his stick on that game because he got into the slot. I look at the way he's defending. I look at how many chances he's getting in from the home plate scoring area. Game 4, he was the best player on the ice, in my opinion, in either team. And, maybe a little off in Game 5, like the rest of our group. So I'm not worried about him. I think he's going to bounce back with a huge game for us tomorrow.
Here.
Jared, how much can you draw on the Stanley Cup championship experience of 22 as far as trying to draw on that to find a pathway here against a really good team? And as a PS to that question, you guys have won one playoff series since winning that cup. So is it just something that doesn't transfer that easily? The league is hard, or is it something you can dive into?
Yeah, I think you learn from all your experiences. We haven't come back in a series in recent past. So that's this is a little bit of this is a challenge for us, right? It's a really good team. We feel this series we've played some really good hockey. We should be confident group. I like what we're doing 5-on-5. We got to put all the pieces together for a game, right? Like I've mentioned before, I think you're looking at a couple of the games in Dallas, and we've had some guys that didn't play that well, but I really like the way they played in Game 3 and Game 4 at home. So we can lean on that a little bit as well. I think there's things that we did in Game 4 that we really, really liked on the offensive side of it. I've touched on those already. So part of that was our competitive spirit and how hungry we were on the offensive side of things, winning races and battles, and their decision making and our execution kind of followed that. And we got to get back to that because I think we took a step backwards in Game 5, even though 5-on-5 it wasn't a bad game. We got pressing a little bit and gave up some odd man rushes that cost us, which you can't do against this team. So getting the lead will be important. Having a good start to the game will be important, and then, as always, the special teams I think can take a step. Game 4 at home, they're really good. They make a big difference for us, right? We can't lose it on special teams because our 5-on-5 play's been really good.
Rod and John, then Colleen.
I want to follow up, Coach, on something you just pointed out. 4 of the 5 games, you guys seem to be the better team on the ice. Is that more of a confidence thing that, hey, we know we're better, or is it more of a frustration thing to saying we should have won one, if not both of those games, and not even still be getting ready for Game 6?
I think when you're finishing some of those games, and I don't think it's 4 to 5. So, I didn't think our game wasn't sustained long enough in Game 2, but certainly it's a fine margin for error, and they stuck with it and hung around in a couple of those games and got rewarded for that. I do think that we look at it you can be, a little frustrated with it after the game, but then you got to move past it. So we're not thinking about like what could have and would have or should have or what possibly might have been. And after game 3, you got to move on. So we respond for game 4. Now we got to respond for game 6.
John, Rod up here.
The guys in the room seemed almost eager to face an elimination game tomorrow. How would you assess their ability to respond to the stakes of do or die?
I'm confident in our team. I am. I want to see, that hunger that we brought for game 4. I don't think like the motivation is there. I think the guys are confident. They believe in this team. It's about going out and freeing yourself up to go play instinctual hockey and confident hockey and not getting too wrapped up or too tense that it sort of freezes up your game, and we did it for game 4. I think we can do it again. Everything in between has been, pretty close, but it's a fine line. So like, I believe that our guys' headspace is good this morning. Takes a little bit to get over that. We know we weren't at our best for game 5, and so the pressure's on, which is fine. Pressure is a privilege, and you earn that pressure. And yeah, we'll see. I think it can. Pressure a lot of times can drive the best out of your team, and that's what we're hoping for tomorrow night. I think the guys are prepared for that.
Colleen, then Mark.
Kind of touching on that, you talked about the ebbs and flows of this series. How advantageous is it to have that extra day off between and to help your players kind of keep that mental focus that you're looking for that they had going into game 4?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're in a position where you've just put a year's worth of work into where you're at right now, right? So we're not going to give up on that. And I think that our guys are like, it's about going to play the way we know we can play. And I think that the 2 days off to help us recover from this one again is a good thing. Guys are getting what they need this morning. We'll hit the ice quickly again tomorrow. And yeah, looking to come out with the same sort of energy and passion that we played with in game 4. And it'll be difficult, there's no question, but I still think it's within our capabilities.
Mark, then Nick.
Landeskog returning was such a seismic event for you guys emotionally and on the ice. Has that already become just normal for you guys and for him, that he's just there, he's just part of the team again, or is there still something, out of the ordinary about it?
Yeah, I think it's becoming normal quickly. Yeah. And which is a good thing for us. He provides so much to our team on and off the ice, and he's played really well in this series. And you want it to kind of get back to normal as quickly as possible. I do think deep down there's a lot of guys that are like, it's great to have him back, and let's make this a long run, and it's added motivation.
Go ahead, Nick.
Cale set the bar so high for himself, but he seems to hold himself to that bar. Like he said, I got to be a lot better. Is he hard on himself behind the scenes, and you think that's part of what makes him great?
Yes, and yes. Yeah, I think so. It's like the standard for his play, like in his own mind is like, I'll go to him on games. I was like, that was an awesome game. He's like, oh, I wasn't good here or there. Like he's got it broken down into every defensive play he thinks he can make, every offensive play he can make. And, if he doesn't see something that's open on the offensive side, he knows it right away. Like you don't have to go to him a lot. It's a high standard. But I do think that's a good thing. That's what helps make the greats, right? They want every play they want to execute it perfectly. They want to see everything that's open, and that's just not the reality. But I do think that that's helped. That's part of what drives him, is to be the best.
Finish with Megan.
Some of the struggles in this series have boiled down to execution, players getting chances but not burying them. What are your options as a coach to help a player through something that's so personal?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I don't think it's a confidence thing with most guys. So if there's anything tactical you can show them, you do it. We talk to all our guys, like I think we've hesitated to shoot some pucks from the slot, looking for something greater. So you're trying to give them the coverage is coming at them. so they know if they get a puck in a certain space, like what is available and is shot right away, the best thing that you can do, and sort of kind of get them in tune with it. But like confidence comes from repeatedly doing the right thing, the preparation that you put into it. And if you do everything right, you still got to beat Ottinger, right? So that's just the reality of it. And on some nights we've done a better job than others, and we're gonna have to be at our best for it in all those situations tomorrow. But like game 5, we, looking back on the video, we had some execution problems. So is that preparation focus? Is it just not being ready for the moment? And then we also had some where we had open looks that we could have used guys that were open like within our scheme, and we didn't see them, so again, that comes down to like awareness on the ice. It's about being in tune and being at your best, and so we have to be better in all those areas tomorrow night to win.